to be here. I haven't spoken in front of people in quite a while, so this is interesting. I got my fan club over there too. Well, this is really what I want to talk about today. I'm probably going to speak about some things that are a little different than what you guys are normally used to, and I hope that this feels like, just like Melissa said, like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So I wrote a book. It's called More Money, Less Hustle. And it really focuses on becoming a seven-figure agent with a lot of freedom. I think a lot of the time when we think about seven figures or building a really great, huge business, it feels like this unattainable thing. It feels like something that will require you to work so much harder than you already are. And I think real estate is the perfect industry to build burnout. So a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is really focused around making sure that you're building the life that you want alongside with the business you want. I mean, there's really three main things that we get into real estate for. I did the same thing. I got into the industry when I was 21. And it was this promise of unlimited income, being able to set my own schedule, having this freedom, and helping people. These were the three things that really got me into the industry in the first place. Now, the reality for most agents is that that's really not what it looks like. For a lot of people, we end up being the bottlenecks of our business. And we end up trading time for money, we end up doing everything on your own, and really at the end of the day, you end up like me, where, I would say, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I was answering my phone every time it rang. I was attached to it. I was spitting spaghetti out of my mouth at dinner to answer the phone because every phone call I was told could be $10,000. And really what ended up happening is I ended up burnt out, I ended up really unhappy. And I think a lot of people end up in exactly that situation. And, the idea of taking days off, it became something that I just didn't seem possible. I'd go on vacation, I'd be at a resort somewhere, I'm supposed to be relaxing, I have my phone with me, and I'm walking away from the people that I'm having a conversation with because maybe there'll be a deal. So really what ends up happening is you end up growing to a certain point, and then you become the bottleneck of your business. And I talk about this a lot. There is a section where the most painful, we call it the most painful GCI zone, where maybe you're in and around the like 200 to 400,000. And a lot of the time what happens in that zone is that you end up doing everything. That is the hardest part of your business. And I know some of you who maybe aren't there yet are thinking, I would love to be in that range. But the truth is, you are still doing everything yourself in that GCI range. People outside, people around you, they see you as so unbelievably successful. You have this image of success. You probably have a nice car. Maybe you're carrying a Chanel bag. You look good from the outside, but a lot of the time what happens is you don't feel successful. Because the reasons why you got into the industry in the first place, they're not a reality. So a lot of the time it comes with no freedom, not being able to really put your phone away and go out for dinner, go play with your kids. You're doing it all yourself, maybe there's no leverage at that point, and it doesn't feel like you have enough income coming in, enough profit in the business in order to reinvest back into some of that leverage, some of that help, some of that outsourcing. And so you end up riding the roller coaster. You do a bunch of business, you take some time off. You do a bunch of business, you take some time off because you're tired. So a lot of the time when we look at how did we end up here? How did, as an industry, for the most part, we end up in a situation where so many of us are so tired and just really like wanting to, yes, we want to be more successful. And I don't want to tell you that you can't do that because you can. We ended up here because a lot of the training and a lot of the ways that we built our businesses in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, we didn't have the tech that we have today. We didn't have the possibilities that we have today. We didn't have, systems, like I said here. Systems were just checklists, right? You're just operating off of maybe a Google Drive here and there. Virtual assistants weren't really a thing. And so what happened is we had an assistant, maybe one person, maybe we had a buyer's agent. We tried to scale something that wasn't automated, that didn't give us the opportunity to actually step away from the business. And so the belief system that we really kind of ingrained in ourselves was that hustle meant money. And there's been a lot of very loud people in the world who've screamed it from the rooftops that you have to work harder, that you have to double down on what you're already doing, that you have to be the person who is going to stay up all night and make 3 hours of calls a day and give up your life for your success. That's not the case anymore. We live in a world now, and we're really lucky. We live in a world now where we have the tech. We have the ability to actually create all of those things and work less. So, it's the end of the crushing it era, right? I'm sure we've all seen some of these big crushing it videos, maybe read the book. That's not the world we live in anymore, and that doesn't have to be your reality. What the difference is, the old versus new idea, is manual versus automated. We get to automate things. We have the tech now. And your CRM alone is not a system. A bunch of checklists for your administrator is not a system. I want you to remove as much button pushing as possible. Attraction versus chasing. When we're talking about marketing, you don't have to chase all of that business. We have things like social media. We have things like digital marketing. We have Google, we have Facebook, we have YouTube. And you can build relationships. And this is the point that I really want to drive home. You can build relationships where people are coming to you at scale. So it comes down to, are you having individual conversations? Because we've all been taught. I remember being 21 and going to a training and somebody telling me, the more conversations you have, the more business you will have. So I went out and I tried to have 1 million one-on-one conversations. And a little introverted 21-year-old me was exhausted. And I started kind of hating the business. And then I realized that I could have these conversations one-to-many. And I could say something powerful, something that was going to give so much value. And it could reach 1,000 people. Or it could reach 10,000 people. And that one piece of content, that one talk, that one video, I could get in front of so many more people, as opposed to going out there and trying to have individual conversations. I stopped taking people for lunch. It was really good for my credit card. Okay? No more lunches, and really, I got to sit at home. I used to call it prospecting from my PJs. I would sit at home on my bed with my laptop, and I would get business. And that's really what we go for now, is the idea of attracting versus chasing. It's a whole different mentality of business. Now, leverage, using tech and then teams. So what we're talking about, I'm going to go into it a little bit more in a second, is not the idea of the old school idea of once your schedule fills, the first thing that you do is hire an assistant. Because that's actually not the most efficient or effective way to do that. So let's talk about the truth about 7 figures. What got you here won't get you there. This makes people nervous because what got you here in your head is what's worked. It's the thing that you're the most comfortable doing. But you can't double down on the manual stuff and expect that it's going to exponentially grow your business. That's why you burn out. I had a conversation with an agent a couple months ago, and he said, I think I just need to make more phone calls. And I was like, okay, well, how many hours of phone calls are you making a day? He said 3 hours. I said, what do your goals look like? He said, I want to double my business. I said, do you have 6 hours a day to make phone calls? And then do you, after that 6 hours, have enough time and energy to service well twice as many people as you are now? Absolutely not. And that's not why we do all of this. So again, doubling down on what you're doing now or what seems to be working up until this point, it's not going to get you where you want to go. And 7 figures requires a new business model. You have to kind of reshift and rejig and reorganize things. And the idea behind this is work way less and earn way more. So this is where we talk about leverage. And I got this from Tim Ferriss, brilliant man. This is the order in which you want to look at things. Eliminate, automate, outsource. This is the order that you want to look at every single thing in your business for a specific reason. There are things in our business that we still do nowadays that are redundant. They're not necessary, but we do them out of habit. We do them out of training. Maybe it's a training that we had 10 years ago, but we're still doing it because someone one day said something and it stuck. Automate. Automation first. If you're paying somebody that's even say $30,000 a year to do something that a piece of technology can do for $500 a year, there's inefficiency there. And what it means is that you're not keeping as much, and therefore you don't have as much to reinvest back. So that's why this is so important. And then your very last step, not your first step, is outsource. You outsource the things that only humans can do. I'm not talking about turning your business into a robot. I'm talking about using the humans on your team, using the humans in your business or in your organization to do the things that are actually going to give human value to your clients. You get to then operate in your zone of genius. And there is nothing better and nothing more fun. Because all of the things that you don't like doing in your business right now, you don't have to do. You get to do the things that are fun and that you enjoy doing, that give you energy, that get you up in the morning. So highest value tasks only. Over time, the goal is to get everything out of your calendar, everything out of your day that isn't $1,000 an hour plus tasks. Because you're worth $1,000 an hour, at least. And when you start looking at yourself and your own value, that way, it completely shifts things. You have 3 things that you can leverage to grow your business. Time, energy, money. Obviously, investing money is the fastest way to grow. But your time is also one of the most valuable things that you have. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So, why are you doing paperwork? If you're worth $1,000 an hour, why are you doing $15, $20 an hour tasks in your business? If you, let's say right now you're like, well, I don't have enough business to warrant paying someone $20 an hour to do my paperwork. Take the 2 hours a day that you're doing administration tasks. Reinvest those 2 hours back into $1,000 an hour tasks. Imagine, legitimately, $2,000 a day in extra income. And it will show up in your business if you're using your time really, really well. So again, we want to, over time, we're not going to do this overnight, otherwise everything's going to fall apart. But over time, you want to remove everything that isn't in your zone of genius. Nothing like that happens anymore. You have team, you have systems, you have automation, you have tech. It's going to take all of that up, to take all of that away. So do an audit. Where are you actually spending your time? You, ideally, a 7-figure agent should be working 3 hours a day. This is what most people's energy output looks like. There's a little bit of energy going in a lot of different directions. But if you actually focused on the things that are going to move the needle the most in your business and everything else was completely off your plate, you didn't have to think about it. Imagine how much further ahead you would be. I'm going to tell you a story of a guy. Justin, are you in here? Where is he? Back here. Okay, he's back there. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Justin. I'm going to tell you the story of the 7-figure agent. He's going to be super embarrassed that I pulled these pictures from him. So this is baby Justin. Justin grew up in real estate. He actually, if you're from around here, Justin is a very well-known mom in the real estate world. And she's a very successful traditional agent. And he grew up never wanting for anything. He had everything monetarily that he could ever want. She did such a wonderful job with him and with his family. Justin's priorities were a little different. And when I first met him, he said to me, I want to be there. I want to be at every hockey game, at every dance recital, at every family event. And that was his main priority. And he said, right now, I can't do that. I want to be fully present, and I want to be the family man that it was really hard, almost impossible for his parents to be, because they didn't have all the tools that we have now. I am not joking with you. I didn't know this. He omitted to tell me when we first started working together, he had 29 bucks in his bank account. Can you imagine? And he did something insane. He went all in, he doubled down, and he was the most coachable person, one of the most coachable people that I've ever worked with. He said to me, if I already knew how to do this, I'd be doing it. And I want to be able to, 10 years down the road, look in my kids' eyes and for them to know that I chose them. That I never answered my phone while Amelia was doing a pirouette. He was there, and that was super important to him. And this is how we did it. We tackled every single one of these things, one by one by one. And I grew up with a mom in real estate. It's the only reason I got into real estate in the first place was my mom got her license when I was in kindergarten. And she didn't have the tech. She leveraged the humans so that she could be there. Every rowing regatta, every swim meet. When I run into friends from high school on the street, the first thing that they say to me is, how's your mom? And I was so lucky to have that. And I don't have kids. I don't want kids. I love everyone else's kids. I am the best aunt. But really, at the end of the day, I'm so grateful for what that gave me. And I know that looking back, Justin's kids are going to think, wow, he loved me. He chose me. And he's doing the best of both worlds because he's giving them everything. He's got the 7-figure business, but they've also got their dad. So what we did with Justin, what we've done with so many agents, is we've worked on these 6 pillars to 7 figures. If you don't have your head on straight, obviously, nobody can help you. But these are the things that really are going to get you to where you want to go with leverage and with freedom. I want you to have a 7-figure business. And that's not a crazy thing, especially not in this market. I want you to have a 7-figure business or a multi-7-figure business where you can come visit me in the Bahamas, like Ara just did. Or go on a vacation with your kids and turn your phone off. Or, be at every single thing that you want to be at. I want you to read books. I want you to learn to knit. I don't know, whatever the thing is that's going to make you happy. I want those things for you. I don't want you to live and breathe real estate. How many people in this room, just raise your hand, truly believe that they were put on this earth, that it is their purpose and their mission in life to sell real estate? There you go. So why do we spend all of our time doing it? Why do we let everything else fall to the wayside? Because we needed to survive to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, it's not going to make you happy. Yes, we love helping people. That's the best part of this job, 1,000%. But having systems, having automation, not spending your evenings doing paperwork, team, putting the right people in the right seats. There's a little spring team family over here that is just full of human beings that love each other, care about each other, and make a lot of money. And that really is what it's about. Marketing, attraction versus chasing. Do you know that there are people, and I'm going to talk about her this afternoon, I'm speaking again this afternoon. Heather, Toronto agent, she generated $200 million in volume last year from social media. She's consistent, she understands human psychology, and her daughter gets 100% of Heather. She's properly leveraged, her team is a family, a community of very capable people. In the end, when all is said and done, this is my mom, by the way. Isn't she amazing? I love her. This is my mom, who actually was there for me, like I said. But in the end, the number one regret that people have at the end of our lives, which is scary to think about, is that they worked too much. And that they didn't spend enough time with the people that they loved. They didn't spend enough time with their kids, they didn't spend enough time with their friends. And this really, at the end of the day, becomes the cornerstone of why we got into this business in the first place. You do not have to have that same regret. And running your own business is a super cool thing to do. And kudos to all of you, because it's scary. And it's not something that everybody has the capacity or the appetite to do. But because you did that, you took that initial risk, you went all in on yourself, there's more steps ahead. That's not the end of the road. If you want to reap the benefits of everything that you've actually risked to get where you want to go, you've got to get out of your own way. Right? You've got to get out of your own way, and you've got to do the things that it's going to take. They're not huge things. You can go from, like Justin did, from 29 bucks in his bank account to a 7-figure business in 9 months. There are people who struggle for 10, 20, 30 years in this business that never get there. But it requires a shift in the way that you actually look at your business. Having a 7-figure business 20 years ago was way harder than it is now. And the reason why is because we didn't have the same opportunities. Granted, also the prices weren't where they are now. But, you know, it makes it so much easier for us. We've been given all of these things that allow us to actually get to that next step. We just have to take them. We just have to learn about what it actually takes to actually run a real business. So what I would challenge you with, or wish for you, is that you really start to focus on what matters. And it's so easy to get caught up in your business. But you spend a solid year working on your business instead of only in your business, and everything can change. So what I think I would love to leave you with, and I'm going to talk about this more this afternoon. Virginia has been so wonderful that she's allowing me to speak again. This afternoon, I'm going to be talking more about actually getting listings through attraction marketing and what it takes, and how, you know, someone like Heather got $200 million worth of volume out of social media. We're going to talk about the fine details of how that works. But I wanted to start today with the concept of changing the way that you look at your business and changing the way how your business serves your life. Because right now, I guarantee you 90% of you are serving your business. And that's the wrong way around. I don't care how much you love this industry, I don't care how much you love this business, we all do, but it's not what you were put here to do. So, Virginia, I promised you that I'd make up some time. So I'm good, right? High five? Okay. So if you want to grab the slides, grab the QR code. What we'll do is we'll send you a whole bunch of fun stuff. Join my Facebook group, because we've got a ton of free trainings in there as well. And come back. I'll be back here at 2:45 so that we can actually chat, but go get some grub. Go get some food. Thank you.